Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial video. I'm Adam from Strawberry 7. In this tutorial video I'll be showing you how to use the ragreport template that we're giving away free today. In order to access this template, just click the link in the description just below this video. You don't need to enter any data or pay anything, it's just a free ragreport template that you can use. When you click on that, you'll be opening it in Google Sheets, and from there you can just go to File and make a copy if you're signed in on your Google account already. If you're not signed in or you don't have a Google account, you can go to Download and download it in Microsoft Excel format as well. For those of you who don't know what a ragreport is, it stands for red, amber, green, and it is a report that you can look at and at a glance see any of your assets within your business or within your school or organisation that are due for replacement coming up to the end of their life. And the way that works for this particular ragreport template, the rules are that anything over 1 year away from its end of year or end of life replacement is green. So you don't really need to worry about that because it's got more than a year before it's going to need replacement. If it's between 90 days and 1 year, then it goes amber. So that's kind of, you need to factor that into your budget, or you need to build that in for replacement at some point. And then 90 days or below, the item goes red, and that's kind of saying it's very close to its end of life. This is something that you probably need to replace quite soon. So now let's go through the ragreport template once we've opened it. So once you've opened it, you'll notice that there's a whole load of different columns here, but don't worry, we're going to go through all of these step by step. The first one that we're going to begin with is location. This is pretty self-explanatory, but it's just the location of the asset in the building. If you're in a school, that might be something like beach class. If you're in a corporate building, that might be something like conference room 1. So I'm just going to enter in beach class for the sake of this. And the next part we've got here is item category. Item category, if we click on that as a drop down, you'll see a whole load of different categories in here. Now these are kind of related to IT items because this is a IT ragreport template that we've created, but we've created the ability for you to be able to change these and add your own if you want to. So let's just jump over to that quickly now because we're at that part. So down here at the bottom, you'll notice another sheet which is called lifecycle data. Let's click on that. And this will look familiar. These are all of the categories which we saw in that drop down earlier. So you can either edit any of the categories which are here, or you can add your own. In order to edit any of these, you just simply change the name. So for example, rather than desktop PC, we could just call this PC if we wanted. And if we want to change anything else, then we can just change it here, the life expectancy. This is how long we typically expect this asset to last. Again, we've just put in the defaults that we found in our experience. But if you want to change this to 4 years, for example, you could just change it to 4 years. The life expectancy in days is calculated automatically, so you don't need to worry about that. As you change this, that will change automatically. And then the estimated cost of replacement, again, it's just in our experience, we've entered in default values there, but you can enter in your own there. You can just type in whatever you like. As we select this on the category here, for example, say we select desktop PC back in the main report area, you'll notice that life expectancy in years, days, and cost of replacement automatically gets entered over here. That's because it's picking it up from that other area. So again, if we went here and we changed this to £500, for example, it would change here on the estimated cost of replacement. So it's very easy to change this around. The only thing to bear in mind is it doesn't matter whether you're entering category new or whether you've already entered it. If you change the data here, it will reflect on the sheet. So if you've got a whole load of desktop PCs entered and you want to keep those prices the same, you might want to create a new category and maybe give it a more specific name for that new type of PC with a different price, for example. You'll also notice here as well that there are up to 30 categories that you can enter. There is the ability to enter more, but 30 categories is just what I've put in this sheet as a default. I'll show you in a bit how to enter more categories if you want to. So let's go back to report now. And the next column that we've got here is item name. So this is typically for PCs or computers where they do need a name. We can just call this, I'll just call this computer-001. And the most important part that we're entering here is the purchase or the install date. So this is what the ragreport is going to base its colour denotion on. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to start by entering that we've installed this quite recently, about a month ago. And you'll notice that it goes green. That's because it's over a year away from its end of life date. And we can kind of see that in the next columns. The next column is current date, and this will be calculated automatically. So the advantage of this is it will always go to the current date that you're opening the RAG report. So when you look and you see all the colours, it's going to be related to that day that you're opening the RAG report. Then you've got the end of life date, which is calculated automatically again, and this is based on the life expectancy that you entered in the other area there. So again, if we go back in and we change the desktop life expectancy to 4 years, you'll notice that the end of life date has jumped up a year to 2026. Change that back to 3 years, and then it's gone back to 2025. Then we've just got the days left to end of life. So this is quite useful to see. Even if it's green, you might just want to see how long is actually left. And then you've got life expectancy, days, and replacement cost, which we mentioned earlier, are pulled from the other area. If we go back here and we change this to a few years back, so we'll change this to 2020, then you'll notice that it goes amber because now we're under 365 days. And if we were to change this to 2019, it's actually going to go, you can see it's over its end of life. It's actually 29 days beyond its end of life. But, you know, if we pulled this back a little bit to about there, whoops, it's a bit far, sorry, to about here, we've got 60 days left. So again, it's still red because it's under 90 days. So that's pretty much it on entering the data. If you want to stay watching, I'm going to show you how to change some of the criteria here and how to add some more of those categories in. If you've had enough information, then thank you very much for watching and enjoy using the template. In order to change some of these categories, then you can do the following. If you want to change the criteria for the red, amber and green, then we do that under something called conditional formatting. So in order to do that, we go to data and then, we go to format, and then go to conditional formatting. And you can see here the conditional formats which are in place. This is the one for green, this is the one for amber, this is the one for red. So let's start with green. Let's say that we wanted to change this so that it was less than 365 days, it was green. So let's say that you said, actually, I'm happy even if the asset is 200 days old for it to still be green. You just change that to 200. Likewise, if you wanted to know further in advance, so you wanted to know, you wanted an asset to be green if it was more than 400 days away from its end of life, and you change that to 400. And then what would happen is if it slipped below that, it would start to go amber if we change the amber setting next. So this is where you'd start. You change a green one and you change that to what you wanted it to be, and then you would move on to the amber one, which is next. So this is saying the in between. So if it's between 90 days and 365 days, it's going to be amber. So whatever we've done with that green one, where we've either changed it down from 365 days or we've increased it up beyond 365 days, you need to reflect that here as well. And likewise, with the 90 days, you could decrease that. So you might only want it to be red if it's within 60 days or within 30 days of needing replacement. So you could reduce that. Likewise, you could increase it. And lastly, the red as well. Again, you need to reflect that as well. So if you've changed that 90 days to 60, you need to change this to 60. If you've increased it, then you would increase it here as well. The other thing is for the categories. I mentioned that I would show you how to add more categories down here if you wanted to add more categories. So that is possible. There's a few things that you need to do that. So the first thing you need to do is you need to highlight these columns, go to the corner where it's got the black cross, and then just expand that down. Let's just say to 40 for sake of argument. Let's say we want to go to 40. You then go back to the report, and what you'll need to do is you'll need to go across to this formula just here in the life expectancy years, the life expectancy days, and the estimated cost of replacement. And if you have a look in the formula here, you'll see that it says $30. you'll need to change that to 40 or whatever you've increased the number to. So you need to change it here, you'll need to change it here, and you'll need to do that for each of these columns. And then, just like with the categories, you need to select all of these columns, go to the corner where the black cross is, and you need to drag this down. And this will go all the way down to 1,000 rows for this particular sheet. So you can drag that all the way down. And that is about it. If you want to customize it beyond there and do some things that aren't included in here, then by all means feel free to do so, because it's entirely yours as to do with as you wish and as works for your organisation. Thank you very much for watching, as always. Please do like this video if you got value out of this video. Then also subscribe to see more tutorial videos or some more things that we've got coming up that might be relevant for you in your IT world. And once again, thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.